Well, breaking news here on CBS Sports HQ from baseball's winter meetings. Trea Turner got a new home. He's now a member of the Philadelphia Phillies. The All-Star shortstop reportedly agreed to an 11-year deal worth $300 million. A full no-trade clause included in that. Now, Turner is a former teammate of Bryce Harper with the Nationals. Now they'll join forces again in Philly, where they're coming off their first World Series appearance since 2008. Take a look at Turner's shortstop rankings since the 2021 season, taking into account 2022. Over 300 in terms of his average, 129 extra base hits. And then first and second is OPS and stolen bases, 59 stolen bags, which of course ranks second since 2021. Let's welcome in the host of Nothing Personal with David Sampson. David Sampson. David, big money, long deal. What are your thoughts on Trea Turner, now a member of the Phillies?
So this is a lot to unpack, so let's try to take it in counterparts. Number one, the Dodgers in the National League got weaker. Number two, the Phillies in the National League got stronger. Number three, if you are Bogarts or Correa, you are dancing in the aisles. Your tail is wagging. You're so happy right now. The only reason that Turner agreed so quickly to this deal is they went the 11 years. Forget the $27 million AAV. The fact is that he's good now. So he is going to be paid till he's 40. He's turning 30 this year. And John Middleton, the owner of the Phillies, was a perfect candidate to spend stupid money because he said that's what he likes doing. And he got so close. And when you're in an owner's meeting, and you're not going to hear this in very many places, Jeremy, when you're in an owner's meeting and you win the pennant but lose the World Series, you are so desperate to win so you can be the winner in that room that if you're inclined to make big moves, you make them even faster and even bigger because you want to feel the way you felt just 30 days ago. And that's what John Middleton feels today, but it's just the offseason. There's a long way to go to get back to the World Series.
Yeah, it must not be pleasant to be a loser in that room, especially getting so close to hoisting a World Series trophy and getting a World Series championship. But David, you talk about it, you say the other shortstops are looking at their deals and kind of getting ready to sign their deals. What does this do to the shortstop market with the money and the years?
Well, I can tell you right now that John Middleton is not going to take any phone calls from John Henry, right, or Tom Werner, the owners of the Red Sox. He's certainly not going to want to be in a room with Jim Pohlad in Minnesota as they try to maybe take Correa back. But Scott Boras is going to call Minnesota right now, and they're going to speak to Boston and say, listen, our guy is better than Turner, even though I have Turner ranked number one of these four shortstops, but he's got to get in right around that number. But they're going to argue this. This is what agents do. They say the only reason the AAV is so low is that the total amount is so high. My shortstop deserves a higher AAV if you don't want to go that number of years. And what players do is they like the number of years because they get to be done now. Trea Turner never has to negotiate another deal. He doesn't have to move. His family, his friends, he can be in Philadelphia through the rest of his career. And that's something that a lot of players choose and like to do. So that's when deals like this happen, is when players and you find an owner who are willing to have a marriage like this. And when it comes together this quickly, it's generally an overpay.
11 years, $300 million, as David mentioned, $27 million AAV. David, so what now for the Dodgers?
So that's a great question. Andrew Friedman operates. He comes from the Rays, and he brought his low revenue mentality to a high revenue team where you're able to make more mistakes. You're able to offer more deals at a higher AAV, but fewer years. They did get Mookie Betts for that long deal. But remember, Andrew Friedman doesn't like giving away long-term deals like that. He likes the flexibility. But the game has changed so much that this Verlander deal that we spoke about today, that's a Dodger-type deal. This Trea Turner deal, the Dodgers don't like that. They made the exception with Mookie. If they do it again, that means that they're turning into these other teams, and they lose that competitive advantage that the Dodgers have shared for all of this winning. So if I'm Andrew Friedman, I don't panic. I don't call up Boras right now and offer the moon, the sky, and the stars to replace him, because that's what the agents want you to do, and that's what the union wants you to do. So the best thing you can do as a good GM or president is you take a breath.
So, David, in terms of what the Phillies are doing over the last couple of years with the money that they've spent, I mean, are you a fan of how they're building this team, getting so close to a World Series title?
How can you not be, right? If you're a fan of the Phillies, it's like saying you're a fan of the Mets. Are you upset to pay Verlander $43 million? No. If you're a fan of a team, you want the owner to spend as much money as they can, pay 26 guys over $20 million each, have a payroll of $500 million. Who cares? We want World Series. You can't argue with Trea Turner, the player. This is a very good player, if not the best shortstop in the game. And you put him in that lineup, he adds speed. He's got all the 5 tools. He can hit for average. And you get him on base, and Harper, with all the doubles that he hits, you put Turner above him in the lineup, and all of a sudden you have more run RBIs for Harper. You have more runs scored for Turner, more opportunity for JT down in the 4-hole. It's just a tremendous help to the Phillies lineup. Is it enough to beat Houston? Let's just go back a month ago. Was it the lineup that was the issue? For me, it's always going to be about pitching. And the reason the Astros weren't willing to match Verlander is they didn't need to pay Verlander that amount because of their pipeline of pitching. And that's what the Phillies need to find a way to do. They need to get a bullpen again, because you don't get a good bullpen with the same guys 2 years in a row. And you're going to need more depth in the starting pitching. So I don't think they got closer to the Astros, but boy, I'd hate to be in the National League East right now.
Well, they're sorted at shortstop. That much we know. David Sampson joining us here on CBS Sports HQ to discuss Trea Turner agreeing to a massive new deal, 11 years, $300 million with the Phillies. Thanks, David, for hopping on with us. And David will be talking more about this and, of course, the other things that have been happening. The winter meetings are just getting underway, but already we've had lots of news, and it's expected to continue throughout the week. You can listen to David's podcast, Nothing Personal with David Sampson, wherever you get your favorite podcast.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.